Hi, everyone. Happy Thursdays. Happy Hot Topics. Happy Hot Topics. Woohoo! Oh my gosh. How is everyone? Anybody having a meltdown? Is anybody having a meltdown? And does anybody need me to hold their hand? I'm there for you. Let's give gratitude. I just got out of the shower. I'm off actually to get my hair dyed after I finish with all of you beautiful people. Thank you, Equus3333, for being a member. Hi, Geocosmic Valentine. Good to see you. Welcome. Joanne Frank, hi to you as well. Meg Garo's in the house. Claudia Palva, hello. Jane Barmash, hello. Wow. Hi, Jill Otero from New Mexico, beautiful New Mexico. New Mexico, beautiful. I have not visited New Mexico. I would like to see some of the beautiful southern states, southwestern states. I hear they are beautiful. Just because I'm a Pacific Northwest girl doesn't mean I can't visit visit you in your beautiful state. Got my Invisalign on. Hopefully it's not annoying people. And we have Dana Terry. She's in Texas. That's not too far from you. New Mexico and Texas are close together. Saying mantras. Santa Fe is beautiful. Ooh, Minnesota in the house. Okay, now I hear people are angry at Phil, the groundhog. Had a couple drinks, took the groundhog out. The groundhog immediately ran back into his little hole. And they came out and they said, what? They said 6 weeks of what was it? 6 weeks more winter, right? If you believe the story. So it's turning out to be, I hear people in the Midwest are complaining. It's like, it's freezing out here. Where's the spring? Puxatony Phil says 6 more weeks. Hi, Nebraska. Hi, Massachusetts. So is it true? Are you guys getting any spring or is it freezing over there? What happened to your spring? Or are you waiting? We're already into May, so I don't know if it's so. Sometimes that happens here in the Pacific Northwest. People will complain and say, what happened? We had no spring, or what happened? We had no summer. And it can happen. Yeah. So the big news. I am going to put my very unprofessional. I'm so unprofessional. Look at what I'm doing. I'm so unprofessional. I'm in a silly mood today. Oh, next week you got, well, that would make sense if it's 6 weeks. March 21st, April 21st. Yeah, so next week would be 6 weeks. So the groundhog says you'll be having your spring starting next week. Cool. Oh, cutting down trees. No, we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be cutting down too many trees. your tomato plants look questionable. My tomato plants looked questionable. So I moved them around a little bit. But you know what? I always eat. I underwatered for years. They kept dying because don't overwater them. So they all died from lack of water. Then the following year, I gave them a little bit more water, but they still died because it was 116 degrees for like 2 days in Portland. I nearly lost the tree I rescued, the Christmas tree I rescued, but it's still alive. It's sprouting new. Michaela, what are you doing? Mila. Anyway, but I see it's coming up new green things. It's like, oh, thank God you're still alive. My garden is out of control. I've been posted. By the way, thank you everyone who's joined my Patreon. Thank you so much, Patreon supporters. Gosh darn it, I appreciate that. And I have been putting up some remote views stuff on the Patreon, but yeah, I've been also putting up my my personal garden. You know, this whole idea that you can grow a garden in small spaces. Let me tell you, it's so true. I have a garden that's 6 foot. No, I think it's more like 8 feet by 4 feet. That's not a lot of space. 8 feet by 4 feet. I have got so many vegetables growing, folks. You have no idea. I mean, I have, without exaggeration, maybe 30 heads of lettuce. I can't eat 30 heads of lettuce. It's so awesome. Maybe even more than 30 heads of lettuce. And then when the tomatoes come up, and now the fava beans are starting to come. Those take forever to grow. I started planting the fava beans. Raining buckets in Arkansas. Oh my. Groundhog, February 2nd, he said it would be 6 more weeks of spring. No, 6 more weeks of winter, which means that traditionally, if winter ends on March 20th, then you would have to add 6 more weeks to that, right? Right? Is that what it means? Or does it mean 6 weeks from the time? Because I don't know. Because March 20th would be 6 weeks, and that would be what you would expect. You wouldn't expect spring to start February 2nd. So I think they're saying it's going to be delayed past. It doesn't matter what. Anyway, the point is, Phil said spring's going to start late this year. Oh, Lynn Webley, yes. I agree, Lynn, but unfortunately we can't make that accusation. So somebody from the legal team here seems to one of the people, volunteers, I think, blocked you there, Lynn. But I agree, Lynn, with what you just said. Okay, planted 14 tomato plants, 8 peppers. Wow. Okay, I just planted some rosemary today. I do have some sage coming up. I did plant thyme. The lavender didn't make it. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about. Oh, hi, Sandy. Welcome to Fairies and Angels. So glad to have you here. So, what do people want to talk about? Do they want to talk about the Supreme Court? Do they want to talk about the war in the Ukraine? Do they want to talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? There's something else in the news regarding gossip celebrities, but I can't remember what it was. It's I don't know. We should have somebody here who keeps track of everything for us, all the hot topics. And I will let you folks and the long-suffering people who moderate, maybe they can decide what we should be looking at first. Okay, Claudia has a question here. Let's see. Claudia has the first question here. Should we be blitzing away? Huh? Okay, so Claudia wants to know, will Putin have surgery? And if yes, okay, hold on a sec. I'm sorry, I gotta open this up. If yes, will he make it, or someone will take the opportunity to take him out? Oh gosh. Wow. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer and then we'll go in. Sound good? Blitz away. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's find out about Putin. Is he going to have surgery? What is going on here? You know, I don't even see a single blitz away. That's not right. Hold on a second, man. No order? I just hang out with you folks all day. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, Joel's here. Joel is always the one to make sure it happens. I'm in a good mood today. I feel tipsy and I don't drink, so I don't know what that's about. I don't know why. I'm just in a good mood today. Thank you, Joel. Okay. Joel is giving the now I'm seeing it. Okay, good. All right. Let's see, Claudia. Let us see your question. Well, I know you're all worried about Putin's health, right? Hoping he's going to be okay. No? I have no idea what it's going to say, but I'm very curious. Okay, I really feel that there will be an offer to end this war. It always feels the same way when I go into this energy with Putin, that he intends on losing this war. This is something that I wanted to talk about in the last remote, was that I felt as a general that the reason I didn't want to move with my troops into Ukraine when I put myself in the shoes of the generals was that Ukraine had become, in the words I used, excuse me, as the general was, Ukraine has become a graveyard for Russian soldiers. So I felt like if I went into Ukraine and I took my soldiers in there, it would be futile, it would be a bloodbath, it would be a graveyard, and I would probably get killed. And that is why I don't want to go into Ukraine, and I don't want to bring my soldiers into Ukraine, and I don't want to put my people's lives at risk. So you have this growing tension between Putin and his soldiers and his generals. The last couple nights I've been doing remote viewing into NATO. People asked me if I could remote view NATO, future of NATO, and when I followed the energy, I saw streams of light between the volunteers from all these volunteer nations setting up infrastructure which would become NATO. So that answers the question. In plainer words, you have volunteers from the United States. You have a lot of volunteers from the United States. You have a lot of volunteers from Great Britain. You have a lot of volunteers from NATO nations and partners, right? Like Israel offering to help, Turkey offering to help. So what has happened is that these volunteers and this military aid that's being given by NATO has become the infrastructure that will eventually build the presence of NATO in Ukraine. Does everybody get what I'm saying? So you had the volunteers from all these NATO countries and allied partners coming in and building the blueprint of what will be the structure that will come in and be taken over by NATO. And so basically what I'm saying is that it is very likely that as a result of what Putin did, they will probably become part of NATO, and I think NATO will be going into Ukraine. That's basically what it looks like. But in terms of Putin walking away from a battle he cannot win, offering a laurel wreath, peace, wedding cup, right? Love, 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 right? So the dove of peace comes. So you have walking away from a battle he cannot win. This is from the perspective of Putin. And the laurel wreath of, the dove of peace. So I think he wants out. I think that his own generals are not cooperating. Archangel Michael comes bringing the sword of truth. So the sword of truth is over a situation that leaves him confused. I feel like he's confused. His mind could be confused. Another man is going to take over. The King of Pentacles is coming in to take over. I feel like they need somebody, possibly even international, like the UN, or it should be the UN and the World Trade Organization or something. Some branch of the World Bank and World Trade has to go in and do a forensic examination of Russia and their misuse of funds, because you have the future of Russia where he leaves, there's this offer of peace, and then you have the fourth house where this new person comes in and he's the money man. And then there's almost like this forensic examination of where did the money come from, who took the money, I'm telling you, the more I look at these cards, the more it looks like multiple nations converge on Ukraine, and Putin will be removed. A new man, the King of Pentacles, will come in, and there will be some kind of an intense breaking open of the coffers to try and find out what happened financially with the money. Where's the money, honey? Digging for the money. The money. Where did all that money go? Something similar happened in Romania, remember? There she is. EU. An account and a reckoning, right? The Queen of Rods comes in, seeks justice, absolute, my way or the highway. I think that there will be some kind of a forensic accounting of, it's not just about the economic damage, that they will be held financially accountable. I mean, you cannot just go in and start bombing a country. But this is also about, it's almost like Russia is under some kind of international sanction and investigation, and it has to do with money. You can't just steal from the world. Oh, mediation, the mediator cards coming in. People betrayed, investigation into money, corruption, justice, the courts coming in. The world courts coming in. It's not good. Oh boy. Heartbreak. I think he's going to be removed, and I don't predict physical death. I'm having a hard time seeing too much on his health, but at this rate, it looks like there's a new guy that will take over. I think the time of Putin is coming to an end with those cards, and I think They're not this I think NATO is gonna go into Ukraine, and I think that there is going to be some demand. I think that Russia is going to have to pull back, and I think that there is going to be some international demand to not only hold them accountable financially, but once Putin is removed, I think the entire world wants to know just what they did with all that money. And the taking of it goes back to this Robert Mueller remote about about the compromised people having meetings on big boats and how it was taped and how they were making decisions and taking money and how they were compromised, and so all of that is coming out. It's scary how somebody can be seduced into getting this royal treatment after you become, say, a congressman or something like that, and you think, wow, these are great perks, and the next thing you know, you've been compromised by a foreign government. But that's really what it looks like. Hello, Whimsy, I fell asleep. Well, are you telling me that I'm boring? No! I don't think she fell asleep on me. Well, I'm glad you're awake now. So that was pretty, I don't know, what do you all think about that? So that is that question. And we have a new fairy and angel, Sandy R. I also want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members. I am trying to put up videos that you folks want to see. It's a lot of fun. And yes, it's a wonderful opportunity for me to raise money to pay off the student loans. So I do support the Patreon. I do appreciate the support on Patreon. Okay, so we took care of Putin. Okay, what else do we have here? I know there's other questions here. Okay, talk about the Russian soldiers accusing Ukrainians of using black magic against them. Well, you know, I don't know anything about that, but I know that there is traditions of such things in this part of the world. So we don't want to be, if somebody has such abilities, right? We don't want to be pushing their buttons, right? I'm still stunned that they poisoned those soldiers. That to me is bad. Who needs black magic when you have rat poison, right? That was pretty horrible. Okay, here's a question from Wendy Burt, and she would like to know, what is the outlook for trans and gay people considering the current Supreme Court situation? Will they be going backwards instead of forwards? It's scary, isn't it? A lot of scary things happening with the courts right now. And if we lose the Senate, it's also very scary, right? So I don't want us to be wrapped in fear, but these are the kinds of things that are concerning. All right, so let's take a look at LGBTQ rights with the Supreme Court. Okay, Supreme Court. Anybody get to see Midnight Mass on Netflix? See the Amy Coney Barrett character? She was awesome. Okay, so basically what it looked like when I did a remote on this, people were concerned about what the Supreme Court is going to do. It looks like the plan was to chip away at Roe v. Wade by planning to coordinate, and this is where it gets to be a little bit creepy, but this is what it looks like to me as a remote viewer, so I'll go ahead and give you the information. And then talk to me in 2-3 weeks, right? Let's see how accurate I get. But it looks like what they were trying to do was challenge Roe v. Wade with a series of selected cases that they were going to use to challenge Roe v. Wade in certain states and coordinate it so that the Supreme Court would take the cases and one by one chisel away at Roe v. Wade by challenging Roe v. Wade in those states. So an abortion case in Tennessee, an abortion case in Texas. And if the state is upheld over the feds, then that would basically slowly chip away at Roe v. Wade. So you have here the evidence in the courts, presenting the evidence, presenting the case, chipping away, chip away one by one. That's how it feels when you go into this energy. That they're going to chip away at Roe v. Wade, one case, one challenge at a time. And then in the case of karma, right, because the 11th house in a 12-card Celtic cross, if you're looking at two bases, the 11th, the hidden card, is the karma card, actually. And so what they have to go through is karma itself. And so they want to be done. They want Roe v. Wade to be done. They want it finished. And they plan on chipping away with it with one legal challenge after another. And where they're at right now, headed to the southwest, so that would be Texas. So they're headed to the cases. So now they want to move very, very quickly, lest the court changes or lest the momentum changes. So now they gotta head on down to the great state of Texas or somewhere else where they can have a challenge like Roe v. Wade, where somebody doesn't want someone to have an abortion, and so Texas versus that individual going to the Supreme Court. So it could be that the Lone Star State is in the middle of it, because this is a card that denotes, for me, the Southwest. So then you have the crossing issue, the devil, the lie, or the effort. So what is disturbing to me as a remote viewer, and of course I always tell people this is entertainment, you can't take it too seriously, right? Is that it almost looks coordinated. This to me looks like a coordinated, somebody going down to some place to get something, some kind of questionable relationship to chisel away at. What is above the money? Something about a financial, some huge chunk of money appears to be there regarding a new beginning this spring. So they wanted this. This is happening very fast. Something about not lack of cooperation, and then the courts blind, a blindness of the courts. So they wanted this to happen fast. They wanted this to be a case of a challenge, and it was planned for very, very, they thought Conan Barrett was going to be the deciding factor in a 5-4 split over these state cases that were going to be challenging. That's basically what it looks like. This is Amy Coney Barrett's card. I'm sorry to say, but that's the card I use. My Way or the Highway, Woman on the Bench. I love being a Queen of Wands. I'm the Queen of Wands, but when you have passion, but you have ignorance, that's dangerous. It's okay to have passion so long as it's tempered by facts and reason and logic. That's what the Queen of Swords has. She tends to be a cold, accused of being cold because she's the Stoics card. But in some ways, that's better than the Queen of Wands, because the Queen of Wands is so passionate, like Amy Coney Barrett is so passionate about wanting to stop a woman's right to choose, that it may cause her to be the fifth vote to push this, even if doing so would be catastrophic for her career or for the country, etc. That's what it looks like. So in terms of LGBTQ rights, which was, I think, what the question was, it goes back to the same issues, that what they're trying to do is to chisel away at existing rights. So say, for example, somebody wants to get married in a state where they don't want to marry people who are LGBTQ. And so they would use that as an opportunity. You're infringing on my state rights to deny you the right. Which, if you look at someone like Barack Obama, you cannot use the Constitution in order to deny someone basic rights like the right to marry. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays itself out. But it's disturbing to see the coordination. Is anyone disturbed to see the coordination? And is anyone surprised by it? Is anyone disturbed by it? Any lawyers here that can tell us whether or not this is even legal? Is this legal? Because I don't know. Oh, witchcraft. Yeah, well, that's okay. Well, it'll go back to the states, right? Isn't that what Trump said? So if you can have an abortion in the state of California, I mean, people are making jokes about having it be abortion tourism. Come and have your abortion in beautiful, Southern California, where we won't make you feel like a horrible person because you need a medical procedure. It should be nice, right? It should be like a spa experience. If you need counseling, that'll be available. If you don't need counseling, you don't need that. If you need a foot massage, come here for a couple of days. You'll just go to those states where it's not a crime. But the problem is if you can't afford it. So that gets into the whole conversation about what sociologists have observed, right? Which is that in those countries where they don't have abortion, they have higher crime rate. So that's because if you're poor and cannot financially afford to raise a child, and you can't terminate the pregnancy, then the child will wind up in the system, theoretically, right? So the child then winds up on the streets in the system, where they then have a higher rate of getting potentially involved in crime, drug abuse, etc. And so they found in those countries and those places where they took away the right to abortion, 15, 20 years later, crime in those areas and poverty exploded exponentially, because all those children who grew up with mothers that couldn't raise them because of poverty, they wound up in the streets begging or stealing purses, or particularly this was something that was noted in parts of, say, South America, South and Central America, where women couldn't get basic birth control services. So, but also during the Depression here in the United States, where they had the orphan trains, right? So high crime rate, derelicts, higher rate of children in being institutionalized, higher rates of foster care, higher rates of children with birth defects in the system that, of course, we're all going to have to pay for. Which, if you're a poor state like Alabama and Tennessee, probably is not going to help your state. Those are all things that have to be considered when we think about it, all of the socioeconomic issues that come along with this conversation, right? Okay, so any other questions for people have today? Good seeing y'all, by the way. So, who here likes me without glasses? Who here likes me with glasses? Does it make a difference? I'm just curious. I've been experimenting. Just a question. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions here. Let's see here. Those big red question marks really help. How come old white men are allowed to make decisions for childbirth? Because they were the ones who traditionally had the power in the society. But I think that's changing. Let's see here. Dark money in the Supreme Court. Yeah, Cindy Dickerson. She's talking about the issue of dark money. Well, that's the thing that I would be curious to see if lawyers here have an opinion about that, which is, can they do something like that? Which is what it looked like, that they were hunting around for the perfect case to send to the Supreme Court so that they could slowly challenge and pick away at, because I don't think they can just throw it out. I think that what they have to do is it has to be challenged. And that's seems to be what they're planning. It's very bizarre. Okay, so here's a question from Claudia Pava. She wants to know about the soldiers that are trapped in Azovstal. Well, they've been saved in time. I guess surrender means death. Sounds very scary. Okay. Well, I just feel that NATO is going into Ukraine. I don't think that it's avoidable, and I think that confiscating the mega yachts and everything else, and there has to be, I mean, it's just terrible what happened. And their military is just completely collapsed. It's almost like they started stealing money from their military going way back. I mean, think about it, 20 years of stealing money from their own military, their own healthcare system, etc. It's pretty horrible. Okay, so are the soldiers going to be okay? Well, unfortunately, some people did die at the facility because they were not able to get medical care to them in time. So there was some loss of life. However, there is some potential negotiation here. Um, you can see here, there's the Six of Cups, which would be a peace offering, and Six of Cups in order to end or a standoff with the Knight of Pentacles. So, but I feel like this anguish, like so much has already been lost with this anguish here. I like this Magician card here. You know, it goes back to that remote. I keep feeling like, as the generals, come on, go into Ukraine. And you know darn well that it's, a graveyard for your military. So of course you don't want to go in. So they would probably love to have some kind of a peace offering here. I think it's possible that some Russian soldiers could wind up on the Russian side. Some Ukraine soldiers could wind up on the Russian side facing and be, hostages. It's possible. Uh, because there's something about a hostage negotiations that are gonna have to be going on soon. I'm seeing a hostage there's something about negotiating both sides. It'll probably end with a hostage negotiation. Hmm. That's rather depressing. Sorry, Christine, I don't understand that question. Okay, will there be a march against SCOTUS this summer? I don't know. How would it help? We don't even, because we don't elect SCOTUS. I don't even know if it would help. It's not much that our president can do, right? Oh, Monica, I think that's what we're saying here is that the Ukrainians that went to Russia are hostage. It's a hostage negotiation. In terms of the question that Joanna Carson had, she wanted to know about protest this summer over SCOTUS. Very likely, yeah. I think there'll be a lot of protests. Quite a lot of motivation this summer, more than people had anticipated. I think people were worried the Democrats wouldn't come out, but you can see here a nice Ace of Wands opens us up, and that's like aggressive yang energy. And then you can see here a nice Ace of Cups as well. So this is people coming out, a good feeling of love, Ace of Wands, aggressive energy, King of Cups, the great mediator, and Ten of Wands doing the work. So yeah, I think there's not only protest, but there's also a really nice family energy to the Ace of Cups, a feeling of love and goodwill. So I think there will be protest marches, etc. But I think the overall feeling this summer about the political climate is one that's potentially quite, in many ways, positive. Okay. All right. Any other questions here? Let's see here. Christine Bermel, during the confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court, 3 out of 4 judges lied that they would not overturn Roe. Will the Senate have impeachment hearings against those judges? I don't know if you could say, let's take a look. I don't think so. Can we remove any of these judges? Wouldn't that be great? Drag these lunatics out of there. Got to watch Midnight Mass. You won't, on Netflix, you won't regret it. It's a really good movie, or a TV show. Okay. I think that they really wanted to become a state issue. I think that they will be happy if they can they will be satisfied if they can get it out of the Bible Belt, if they can get it out of Tennessee, Alabama, these states. But I don't see I don't see them being removed. I see them being harassed. People like Kavanaugh, they always come in these cards as if they're saying, if I had known it would be this big of a pain, I never would have agreed to this. Like, really, like Kavanaugh always comes like this, just always unhappy, always fighting with his wife, always tormented, always, and also probably constantly being threatened, constantly having to look. They all have security concerns. But it just seems like this Supreme Court, it's always something. But specifically, I'm concerned about relationships that need to be investigated that are taking place at the Supreme Court level regarding coordinating which cases will go before the Supreme Court and any kind of a hidden agenda, like, for example, cases that would give them the opportunity to overthrow Roe v. Wade. Certainly in certain states. You can see here like Ace of Wands, which is this aggressive energy. And then again, what has me concerned here is this Devil card here, which could again indicate some kind of questionable liaisons or questionable relationships between the bench and special interest groups. Hidden agendas, hidden money also comes up. So I don't see them being removed, but I do think there could potentially be some kind of investigation or expose about this because it's just coming in so strongly, this relationship between them and potentially dark money or coordinating of certain cases, that I'm shocked more hasn't come out about this because it just doesn't seem appropriate. So Kavanaugh likes beer. I like beer too, but I can only drink like one of them. A second one and I'm toast. You never want to see two beers and I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so any other so what do y'all think? I don't know. Hey, Geo Cosmic Valentine. Good to see you here. Favorite, if you are going to drink alcohol, what's your favorite drink? For me, it's beer. Wine gives me a headache. After one or two sips, I get a headache. Hard liquor hurts my stomach. I know. See, this is just so boring. I'm the most boring. But I can have a beer. I like the fizzy bubbles, and I like having a drink that's not sweet. Like I like a fizzy bubble, soury kind of a. But then 2/3 of the way in, I'm starting to get like, ugh. Like about 2/3 in. Ugh. Hi, Cindy Dickerson. Good to see you here under the full moon. Hi, Michelle Maybell. Good to see you. Hi, Debbie Brady. Thanks for your help today. Linda Hepburn. Thanks for being a member. Hi, Wendy Burt. How about Depp, Amber, and I don't know. What do y'all think about? Okay, Wendy Burt. How about Depp, Amber debacle? I don't know. I don't know what kind of question to ask about it. It is what it is. People are watching it. Everyone has an opinion. Do I think Amber is lying? No. I think that this is a really good opportunity to realize that good people can become drug addicts. Beautiful, loving, sensitive artists can become drug addicts. And if you've studied the effects of drugs on mental health, this is, rather than making Johnny Depp out to be evil and horrible or Amber out to be evil and horrible, a better thing would be to use this as an opportunity to educate the American people about what a person can become when they become a drug addict. How alcohol can completely change a person's behavior. Same with cocaine. If you think about like the stimulant drugs, cocaine is associated with paranoia, violence, increased risk for domestic violence. Methamphetamines also associated with paranoia. Alcohol is associated with blackouts. You want to ask what are called the cage questions to determine if the person can even remember what they did when they were on the drugs. And then you have sleeping pills, which don't necessarily make a person violent, but again, could make them drunk, could make them pass out. So again, they don't remember what they did or didn't do. And so for that reason, you just want to be aware that everybody, drugs and alcohol are can really change a person's behavior, and you just want to be aware of that. All right. Would you read on the Pope with respect to Russia? Well, see, Bugs Bunny, that's the strange thing because the Pope is a different church. So I'm wondering if I'm just wondering if they would even respect the Pope, right? So let's see. But the Pope certainly wouldn't have sided with Russia. Okay, hold on. Let me just see what Bugs Bunny is saying here. Would you read on the Pope with respect to Russia? Okay, so let me look at the Vatican, the Pope, and its relationship with Russia. Tris, I'm sorry, Tris, but I think you've got a lot of misinformation. You actually are wrong about some stuff. Okay, let's look at Bugs Bunny's question. Okay. I think the Pope would like to negotiate peace negotiations or would want to support some kind of summit or communication. That's what it looks like to me, Bugs Bunny. Did you hear something? You've got position of power. And again, here, position of power, 9 of Pentacles. Possible travel. Maybe he's hoping to have some kind of meeting in Italy, Rome, or meet somewhere to negotiate a peace deal. He wants to be part of the peace issue, Six of Cups. So that's kind of the issue. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I would just on the whole Amber and drugs change people. It's very scary. It's terrifying to see what drugs can do to people's mental health. It's very scary. All right. So Deb Z. Okay. Will Putin survive his surgery or fake his own death? Ooh. I don't know. That's funny, Wendy. Okay. How will Putin do with his surgery? He feels like he's disempowered. There are certain things he will not be able to do. I do think it is abdominal surgery, and I do think he will be taped up, and I think he will be miserable because he won't be able to do anything, and he won't be able to control people while he convalesces, including he won't be able to control his girlfriend slash wife, whatever she is, who may be wanting to go back to her home in Switzerland. So there's this feeling of him being contained, also containing in the chest area. Isn't that crazy how the cards speak to you? Fear of losing control, fear of poverty, fear of abandonment. So he has this thing happen that has him indisposed. Then he has a fear of poverty, abandonment. It's interesting that poverty comes up because we have all of this stuff that's gone missing, right? These yachts that have been taken and all this stuff that has been confiscated, so that the stuff that's been stolen has been taken by Britain and the United States, etc. So now he may be feeling to some extent, the sanctions. Or, how long are we going to be holding on to this person's stuff, right? So there's this actual fear of physical poverty. The other thing he's afraid of is mounting evidence, contracts, deals, things happening which he has no control over. Three of Pentacles comes to him. And then the Six of Cups, which is to return back to old, or desire to go back or return back to his old position. Whether or not it happens, he's convalescing. He's facing concerns about facing jail. Is told that he can avoid jail or prosecution if he volunteers to resign from his position as president. That's how it will probably wind up. His health concern, right? Archangel Raphael, who brings messages of the healing waters, health, right? Always associated with Archangel Michael. Over his surgery, also constriction of the test. Poverty, he lost his stuff. They took his stuff. And then fear of jailed, cornered, defending his territory, defending his stuff. Poverty, also fear of losing his wife. Over the contract, over his presidency, or the fact that he has to install somebody else coming in, this new contract, he's going to have to hang it up. He's going to have to hang up the presidency, possibly as a way of avoiding prosecution. And so he takes the leap of faith. So I think he's going to step down. I think the position is going to temporarily be handed over to somebody else. And I think he will do it because he thinks it will be a way of evading criminal charges down the road. How or why he feels that way, I can't tell you, but that's how he feels. Oh my God, I just clicked. I saw all these red marks. Whoa, there's a lot of questions here. Ooh, civil war in the USA or violence against the Supreme Court justices. Oh my God, I hope neither. Joel asked, will Trump testify against the January 6th? Oh my God, you guys have so many interesting questions. I don't even know where to start with all these questions. My goodness. Okay, let's look at whether or not we're looking at civil war. Wow. Oh, so before I get started with all of that, I was also going to say that if you want to get a quick 5-minute reading from me with a video on Wizio, the information is below. If you did send a question in for me, hopefully tonight I should be able to have most people's Wizio questions in. If you haven't received your message yet, you'll probably receive it tonight. I've been a little bit behind, but I am catching up with the Wizio questions. If you need to get me for a phone reading, a longer reading one-on-one, I do give phone readings. That information is also below this video if you want to make an appointment. You can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com as well. And thank you for the Patreons. All right, enough advertising. Let's get back to Civil War. Okay, Civil War. Oh my God, I don't want civil war. Oh, thank you, Debbie, for putting up the Wizio connection there. That's awfully sweet. Does that work? Did that link work? Or does it cut off? Oh, it does work. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look here. Oop. I don't believe we're going to have civil war. I just don't. No, no civil war. I don't think there's going to be civil war because I don't think that the Justice Department is going to allow it. You can see here strong judgment leads. So no, because there's such a strong presence now because of what happened January 6th. I think that now the feeling at Homeland, the feeling of the energy about what happened has caused this kind of reaction. You can see here judgment. And then there was confusion initially, but then here, as far as the justice, again, magician, and then the nation is secure, 9 of Pentacles. So the nation is strong. But I'll do a clarification for you. Yeah, we get our wish, strong Justice Department. No, there's not going to be a civil war. They'll be assimilated into the general population, education, etc. Oh, there's a lot of money coming into education in the future. That's good. Stop being at war with education, America. What are you doing? You want to go back to the Victorian days? We gotta give people free education. Look at this. Education, knowledge. Look at this. General population. Most of the crazies will get absorbed. We will move on from this. Education, knowledge. The nation is strong. The union is strong, my friend. I know it doesn't feel that way. I know people are scared, but the union is strong. Strong people are putting things back together again. I'm going to do one more question. I'll let the moderators pick the last question. I'm going to have to get ready. I have to go get my hair cut. Next time you see me, it'll be a new color. That'll be fun. Yay. Should I trim it or just let it keep growing longer and longer until it becomes just some long, wild, I start looking like a banshee. Would anyone like to date a banshee? Banshee? I was watching this brief short story. I forget what it was, but it was, on YouTube, they have short love stories, but one was this guy falls in love with a banshee. She's crying with long, wild hair. It was very funny. And the banshee had come to take his grumpy old mother, and the grumpy old mother was saying, "Leave it to my son to fall in love with a banshee." It was very funny. And the banshee's like, "Ah!" It was very funny. My hair is my antenna. Red hair. No, ash brown. I'm trying to get rid of all that red. I don't like it if it gets too red. So do any of the moderators have a question before we close out today? It was fun hanging out. Didn't it go fast today? Kind of went fast. Monty Python. It was kind of Monty Python, and they had her like a ghost, like a Monty Python ghost. She was all white, like it was Like he put his hand through her a few times when they went to kiss. And it was like she's like a floating aspiration, like similar to oh, what is it? Oh God, I can't remember. Harry Potter. Moaning Myrtle. Have I ever had blonde highlights? Yes, in the sun. When it hits the sun, it goes blonde. Blonde, gray. And now for something completely different. Yes. All right. No questions from the moderator. So I think we're going to call it a day since Debbie and Geocosmic don't have a question. Michelle Mike Bell doesn't have a question. So I don't know. Well, stringy, you're right. Like right now it looks stringy because it's wet. I just got out of a shower, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Bye, Wendy. Hey, Pauline is number 417. Thumbs up. Absolutely great. Okay, love and light to everybody who decided to come in. Like I said, if you're trying to get in for a reading, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com, or if you need a mini reading, you can go to Wizio. Also, think about joining our join button if you want to see fun videos, or Patreon. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for the support. We'll see you next time. Bye. Bye, loves.